Welcome back to the Cazaly Resources podcast. Over this series, we're going to go into some background on Cazaly as well as specific projects that are currently in the works. But today, we're doing a deep dive on the Managing Director, Tara French. Tara, can you share some personal insights about your journey in the mining industry and how you progressed to become the Managing Director of Cazaly?
Yeah, thanks, Anwin. Thanks for that introduction. My journey sort of started in Queensland. I'm a Queenslander, born and bred.
Yep.
Don't hold it against me.
We won't.
And I moved to WA in 2000, actually, and that was a job opportunity. So I'd been working in exploration in Queensland and then applied for a role with WMC in Norseman. So that was an underground gold mine. Fantastic place to work.
Yeah.
Very, very different to what I'd been doing in exploration in the field. So,
of course.
But it was just, brilliant opportunity, just working with lots of different people and, just gaining an understanding of mining and the operations. So I guess that's sort of all where it started. And then, have sort of moved around. Majority of the time after that was in exploration. And then, as time progresses, there's less time in the field and more time in the office.
Yep.
And, I've had the opportunity to manage some pretty big teams. And so I guess over time you just sort of develop those sort of management skills, with the team that you work with. So I don't know if there's any fantastic insights from that, but I guess that was sort of my journey.
So it definitely felt like a natural progression for you to move into this part of the business.
Yeah, I think so. It's sort of I was at general manager at Regis for a few years, and I was with Regis for 14 years in total. And so I guess it was at that point where you sort of think, okay, so what's next?
Yeah.
So done exploration for a long time and, still love the business and, what's the next step? And the next step is really to be, running your own show.
Yeah.
So, it's very, very cool. Great opportunity.
More than 25 years as a geologist, that is a fair whack of time to be in that business. So how has that sort of helped you transition into management?
I think the diversity of, the opportunities I was given along the way, certainly. I still remember, working at Norseman Underground and then sort of moving through different roles there and doing all their near mine res dev and underground work still, but, near mine, so extensional work. And that was fantastic. I then got opportunities to present to the board and, so I think from that point, it was just that process of dealing with, people at the forefront, like at the coalface, if you like. So, and the other thing is you learn a lot along the way and it's really an interesting industry to be a part of. There's so many different roles that, you can gain an understanding of. It's just a matter of talking to people along the way.
And asking the right questions.
Yeah, well, I think if you've got an interest in anything, you'll just be naturally inquisitive and therefore ask people questions about what they do and, what's involved, what are the issues, So I really enjoyed that, certainly enjoyed that side of working life, if you like, the exposure you got to everything else that's going on.
Do you think it makes a difference having come, like you say, from the coalface, so actually being at the forefront of the operations and being on the ground and hands-on, all of that stuff, bringing that into management rather than just being a manager who's moved through management in different companies and all that sort of stuff? Do you feel like that brings something extra to the role?
Yeah, I think if you do have an understanding at the ground level, it certainly helps you have a better understanding of what's going to be involved in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So as much as managing it's definitely a skill set, and there's some great managers, there's some bad managers, but I think anything you learn along the way. And also just dealing with different people and different personalities as well.
100%.
Is really, really helpful too, and just keeping an open mind. You know, I think that's the important thing. If you're a good listener, I think you do pretty well.
Yep.
And just also, you know, surrounding yourself with good people.
Yes.
Is quite critical. I've been very lucky in my journey. I've had a lot of good people around me. So, great mentors. And, so it's all played a part to me, I guess, getting to where I am.
Something I think is absolutely not celebrated enough is just how much gold you've managed to find throughout your career. What is the actual figure?
Oh, look, I've been very, very lucky. There's, you know, a couple of ingredients that you need to find that. One is good ground.
Yeah.
And two is a very good team. So it's methodical exploration techniques then that you just apply.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's new things coming out all the time, but it's if you do the process well, you do it right, you've got the right ground, you've got the right people, you'll be successful. So, you know, we were lucky to have all those ingredients, and certainly with my time at Regis, we found 6 million ounces, which was pretty cool. Like, it was great to be part of that.
That's unreal.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
Collaboration and stakeholder engagement, vital in the mining sector. How do you approach building strong relationships with communities, investors and other stakeholders?
I think, it's obviously very important. And many different stakeholders, so, you know, different approaches for each different stakeholder really. And generally, if, you know, getting on the ground, what the preference is really to just meet the people that are involved, you know. So, for instance, you know, we've got projects in Canada, we've got projects in Australia and Namibia, and, you know, when we staked our most recent tenement in Namibia, we flew over there, we met the local landowners, met the local chiefs, and, you know, so have those discussions early. We don't have that tenement granted yet. However, it's important to, you know, be on the front foot, tell these people who we are, you know, and then we might not see you for another 6 months. You know, we don't know, you know, the grant process will take some time. But, you know, ultimately we want to build those relationships early, let them know who we are, what we do, what we intend to do, and, just get on the front foot and have honest conversations, I think is important.
Yes.
Because that's the other thing. You know, mining does have a long history, and sometimes it hasn't been done well in the past. So it's always good to have those conversations and then assure people of the processes that you undertake, you know, to make sure you're going to be looking after your stakeholders, the environment and everything else along the way.
What are some of your personal goals for Cazaly over the next few years? How do you envisage the company's growth and the impact on the industry?
I do love finding resources. So that's certainly a big goal for me at Cazaly, is to make a new significant discovery, which again will be a great benefit to the business, a good impact on the business. So that's sort of where I'd like to go. And Cazaly's got a great business model. I really, really think it's a smart business model. So we look at, they've been of a long history, 20-year history of project generation, either through staking their own claims, taking their own tenements based on, you know, a good geological model, we're in a good area, or an acquisition, you know. So we look at bringing new projects into the portfolio, and then we'll look at divesting other projects. We've always got a mixture of projects in the portfolio, and we look at adding value to some. We review them all the time. Which ones do we want to drive ourselves? Which ones do we potentially want to monetize and spin out, do an IPO or joint venture, get someone else to manage that? So, you know, there's opportunities there for the business. And the other piece that Cazaly has is a couple of royalty streams that are due. So, you know, it's a very, very smart business model, I think. So they sold an iron ore mine in 2019. And that is currently in development, so they're mining that one at the moment. And the royalty stream should start there in 2025. So it's it's a great business model because we're an exploration company. So that way that sort of generates income for the business as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
you know? So
the more passive income you can have, the better.
Absolutely, yeah.
Amazing. For aspiring leaders in the mining sector, what advice would you offer based on your own experiences and the journey to becoming the Managing Director of Cazaly?
Well, for one, back yourself, always back yourself. If opportunities arise, take them.
Yes.
Step outside your comfort zone at times and also make your own opportunities, If you have a desire to go and work wherever it might be, overseas or, do it. Just take that opportunity. Go and knock on doors. I've certainly met a number of fantastic geologists that have just come knocking on the door, So there's a lot of proactive things I think you can do along your journey. And, and the other piece is what we touched on a little bit before, which is be inquisitive, ask questions. There's no stupid questions. There's no dumb questions. You'll learn a lot from people. Most people love to impart their knowledge, so get them to share their experiences as well. I recently just had a call, interestingly enough, with a couple of graduates in the US who just wanted to chat, what's it like in industry and, what path should we take and all of that. And the reality is you don't know until you get out there.
Yes.
You don't know what you're going to enjoy. There's obviously parts of any job that you like more than the other. But I think there's so much opportunity in the industry and so many different roles that you can undertake that just try and get as much experience across the board as you can and just find what fits you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like mining is one of those industries where you might start out in a role and you might enjoy it, but that could be completely different to the role that you end up in. You might find along the journey that actually there's a whole different area that you are super passionate about.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And you'll wear many hats as you go as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. And depending on the size of the company you work for, I've worked for a couple of juniors, and this is when I was much younger. And then if people leave the business and you're willing to work, you can essentially be doing 5 different roles. You know, you could be doing database management, you could be doing the resource geology, you could be doing the exploration management. So there's all sorts of things that you can get involved in if you choose to do so, basically.
Yeah.
And then of course, based on your experience in those areas, you can decide if it's for you or if it's not. But it also gives you the opportunity to understand other people's roles a bit better.
Yes.
As well. So you're right, you can start somewhere in the mining or exploration industry and end up somewhere completely different. That does happen from time to time. And, there's also consulting. A lot of people do go and do that. They've got a lot of experience in industry. So it's, there's plenty of avenues to follow.
A lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
Tara, thank you for joining us.
Thanks.